Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Happy Saturday to you. We're going to take a quick look here at Bitcoin, see what's going on, and just generally understand where we're going next. We are starting to see the price pull back, but also edge its way up with a higher high and higher low pattern. So again, we got to respect the fact that this could very well break out again. But once more, we'll look at some possible scenarios with the back end to kind of see what's going on here as well. So if you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, I love teaching people to trade. You want to become a better trader, CryptoCash.tech is a site. Also be sure to jump on over to Bitunix, phenomenal exchange. We partnered with them recently. No VPN, no KYC required. $5,500 bonus for newbies. They got some fun little reward games there and just a lot of, I don't know, they have trailing stop losses, a lot of other features no other exchange does. So thank you again, Bitunix, for providing a good opportunity for our members to be able to trade, because unfortunately, a lot of Canadian and US members, and they really have less opportunity in the States and otherwise. So, okay, enough about that. Let's talk about Bitcoin daily, and we'll work our way down. So first of all, on the daily time frame here, we've got a couple of things we want to be mindful of. I'm not a big subscriber to the price pulling back down to the 28,000 range anymore, but based on Elliott Wave, if this is the top, we could see a pullback as low as 32 to 31 or about 29.5. Okay, so just know that that is something that's possible. I want you to put that in the back of your mind and not forget that there is potential for pullback, and if so, great, we can buy the next dip, right? But at this point, we got to assume it's going to continue higher because there's no reason it won't. All right, so we'll talk about that quickly. To note, we can see here, obviously, the money flow index is back on track. So even though the money was coming down, we saw a lot putting right back into the coin here a couple days ago. Averaged yourself out here nicely. So again, RSI being overextended, not a big issue. We can also see that we're still converging, so to speak. In other words, we haven't officially diverged. That's the important thing here on the daily. And if we take a look at our moving averages, we can go ahead and note that we are still ascending positively. In fact, we can kind of draw out a trend line here for our ascending trend, and we can kind of see that we're running concurrent with the 20-day SMA for the moment. Okay? So when we shift below that level, that's when we maybe want to consider closing our position, or maybe consider a short. There's a lot of other factors too, but generally speaking, when we are below a specific trend line, that's a case in point where we want to maybe be a little concerned. Okay? Now we don't have really much cause for concern. We still got a few more days worth of continuation before we need to really even concern ourselves with that. Take a quick look at the 4-hour here. In fact, actually, before we jump into the 4-hour, let's go ahead and jump into the back end stuff here. Just to quickly note, liquidation levels are at an all-time high here, of course, with shorts getting wrecked. Big surprise, we can see retail is, of course, still active. They typically are active when the price action is extremely high. And then we can go ahead and see, of course, with the nets versus longs versus shorts, we kind of had a break-even day yesterday. And today here so far, more people considering long positions than short positions, which is crazy to me, seeing the price actions at 37.3. But again, you kind of start to average things out at a certain price point. You get kind of used to it. A lot of breakout traders out there right now trying to take the top. It's anyone's game, honestly, at this point. So take a look here at Bitcoin, big picture. These are basically the long positions here for open interest. We can see we have the most amount of open interest for longs. These are late longs at 37.1. They're tentatively in the green, I guess you could say, depending on where you look at it. Well, they're kind of break even, I guess. The price for right now about 37,050. So truth is they're slightly in the red, but not too far off. We're probably going to see a very similar scenario here for shorts. Actually, we got some late shorts here that might be successful, 37,300 for the majority of the shorts here, okay? So those who short the top, the tentative top, congrats for now. That is very, very tentative, though. Please keep that in mind. Certainly no guarantees that's going to be the case. Here's something that's interesting. Since yesterday, look at how many liquidation levels are starting to form in the upper ranges, 40, 42,000, 44,000. So we got some folks that are shorting that have really low leverage, which is great to see, because these are probably like the 5x leverage or maybe even less, where the price action is upwards of 44,000. Basically just tells us there's a little bit more, there's more diversity now. Instead of everyone just trying to go long, we're starting to see some shorts, and they're starting to spread out a little bit more. So some folks are starting to see this as potentially the top. We have the largest amount of short liquidation levels right here at about 38.5, and secondary to that about 38 even. Okay, so 38,000, 38,500 is roughly the area in which shorts are leveraged the most, and we can see still the same thing here with longs, 34,000, but we got some new guys in here at 35,200. So 35.2 is a new potential area in which we may see a sweep if the price comes down to that level. Okay, so just some back-end stuff that is really helpful to note. Keep in mind too, we have a new liquidation levels here, or liquidity upwards of about 38,000. So that kind of goes to show the price action does come up. We could very well see a sweep of that liquidity before we continue on our way down, if it even comes down. We saw this previously happen where we swept the upper liquidity levels and it just continued higher. Use that as a support, okay? So it's common practice for that to occur. We've seen it happen a few times already. We saw the first liquidity sweep, second, or is there going to be a third? My speculation is yes, there probably will be, but is it going to break above 38,000 and continue higher? That remains to be seen. There's a lot of factors involved. But generally speaking, the more times you sweep upper liquidity levels, the less likely they are to occur later. In other words, you can only do that so many times in a row until the bill comes due. All right. So just note we're getting overextended in that regard as far as liquidity is concerned. Taking a look at fair value, there isn't a tremendous amount. There is still a little bit down there at about the 35 even, 35.1, 35.2 range. Take a look at TD sequential. We're not overextended. This is a nice healthy continuation. And of course, RSI is starting to taper off, but that's natural, and this is good. Money flow index is coming down a little bit, but that makes sense with the recent sell-off there. We can see the MACD is diverging. Again, not a reason to take a short position, but it would be, this is a stronger factor, of course, so you want to recognize that. We also want to look at stochastic RSI and see that we are swinging down for a second time here. We're diverging a second time. So truth is, we may actually see the price swing back up because of that. The stochastic is pretty good about forecasting when you see two divergences or convergences. The second one is typically a lot stronger than the first, so we could really probably likely see the price action continue higher because of that. So again, we got some conflicting information in the 4-hour time frame. So me, I don't like to trade when I have situations like that. We already have a short open. I think our average open position is somewhere in the 36,000 range, so technically we are in the red, but it's a 5x leverage trade. And we got a lot of other good long positions open too. So I'm not super concerned. Again, you want to leverage your shorts with your longs and vice versa. Make sure that you hedge your bets in some cases. Don't get too crazy, but you can definitely be successful doing that. Taking a look at Ichimoku Cloud, last thing we want to kind of note here is that we are still above the cloud. We have been for some time, but the lagging spans intersecting with the price action and the lagging span, or correction, the conversion lines below the baseline. These are all conflicting signs, basically giving us non-confirmation. Essentially, we are above the cloud, which is good. It's all well and good. That's the trend line we've talked about for a while now. But in truth, we have two signs here letting us know that if you have a long position open, you probably should have closed it by now. But once more, you got to recognize we are making higher lows and so far a higher high. All right, so is that going to continue? That remains to be seen. So what are your thoughts? Comment below, like, subscribe, follow, all that wonderful stuff. Deeply appreciate you watching. Make sure you jump on over to one of the best exchanges in the US and Canada, obviously other countries as well, but if you struggle with KYC and VPN, these guys got you covered. They've been around for a very long time too, and I'm confident they're going to treat you well. They're an extremely good exchange so far, and I really like how they work. They have trailing stop losses and really cool features too. All right, be sure to check that out. Thanks again so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.